All right. So I really appreciate everyone jumping on today. We're on Facebook Live. We have some attendees. I have found that there are a lot of multiple offers going on right now, and there there are just things that I think we can do extra details, things that we do. Like if we do all these things together, we're going to have the probability of winning more often. Do they always work? No. If you do them all the time, I believe you're going to have a higher probability of winning. Sometimes you never know what gets the seller. You never know what gets the listing agent. So I just wanted to arm you guys with 9 or 10 tactics. I promise if you take one thing away from this, that can improve your negotiations, can improve your chances to win in multiple offers. It will save you 5 or 6 more deals a year. I think the most frustrating thing for buyers right now is going out, looking at properties, and they lose 5 or 6 times. Like, I believe as a mortgage lender, partnering with my realtor, it's my job to make sure that we do everything we can to land that property. For some reasons, it's selfish, right? Because y'all don't want to go show them another property. You want them to be this property if it's right for them, right? For me, it's not having to run numbers on 15 more properties. That eats up a lot of our time. So I'm not saying get clients into the property that like is wrong for them, right? I'm saying that if it's the one for them, do these things, increase your probability of winning that offer. You're going to get more referrals from your buyers. You're going to be able to leverage that into, hey, I do these things for you to make sure that we can land. Because if you want a property, the chances are many home buyers want that same property. So that's what I wanted to give you today, right? And I just got to be candid with you. These are not things that I developed. These are things that I've stolen. These are things that people have poured into me, provided me tactics, and I just have seen my conversion ratio. We call it pre-approval to close deal. My conversion has went up by over 20% in 2 years, right? I believe it's because I'm doing these things more often, right? So I always believe, if you can go to the next slide, Evelyn, I always believe for people to listen to me, you got to know why to listen to me, right? So I don't tell these things to impress you. I tell them to impress upon you. These have been the results of lots of coaching, lots of people pouring into me, stealing other people's ideas and incorporating them into my business. So made $1 million 5 years in a row. We will double that this year. I started it with over $70,000 in IRS debt and credit card debt 10 years ago. We've rolled that now to $3.4 million in the stock market. Been a top 1% mortgage originator since 2013. Top 200 mortgage originator from 14 to 2019. Been in the Scotsman's Guide, top 25 originator in the core training, a core coach, 300 plus transactions a year, and former financial advisor. So that's my little brag sheet. I don't say that once again to impress you. I just say it to impress upon you these things work, and I do them time and time again. So number one, let's start with what's the mindset for the sellers, right? What is the mindset for the sellers? Like, I'm really working hard on grace right now. We're in this crazy COVID environment, and I find people just think of themselves, and I see it time and time again. I think if we can put ourselves in the other side seat and understand where they're coming from, understand their challenges, you're going to be more likely to relate and empathize with their situation. So I call them the 3 Gs: gratitude, grace, and giving. It's what I'm working on in my life. I think just starting with some grace for the other side and understanding they're a part of this transaction too, right? And we got to work as a team together with the sellers to make sure we're getting our buyers what we need. So first and foremost, make it easy, make it collaborative, make it predictable, make it affordable, right? There might be some trigger points with the seller side that you can dig out of that other agent. Maybe they're relocating. Maybe they have kids they have to get into school. The more you can find out about the situation, the more you can tailor your offer to stand out from 4 or 5 other offers, right? Build relationships with the other agents, right? Be that agent that people look to of like, hey, I have my friend Brock here in the crowd. I want to deal with Brock. Brock's a professional. He never loses his cool. He doesn't go to this negative place. Like, no one wants to do transactions that way. And when you get that reputation, I think it hurts your business, and I think it hurts your buyer's chances of winning in multiple offers. So be in relationship with the other side. Be that agent, and for me, that loan officer that people want to deal with and know that we'll get the job done. I think professionalism is important. How you dressed, how you present yourself, how you send emails, how you leave voicemails, right? The more professional you can sound, the more professional you be, I think is going to allow you to win more often for your buyers. I struggled with this the first part of my career. Like when I would lose a deal, I would burn a bridge every time. I would get super upset. Looking back, I was just frustrated with myself because I wasn't a good enough salesman or advisor. And I would lose clients and I would like blow up a bridge over it. And it's come back to bite me several times. So just don't burn those bridges. I have a realtor that I respect a lot in Chicago. She was on the listing side. Super upset with the appraisal, upset the clients used it as an out. I had some shade thrown on my team through emails. It was just like inappropriate and not needed. So sometimes I pull people out of the situation and say, hey, I feel like we're in a gunfight, right? I'm not willing to enter the gunfight with you. I have too much respect for what you've built. You're a big realtor. I'm a big lender. We're going to work together again. Let's figure this out. Why are you so upset? What do you know that went on? What could we have done better? Here's what you don't know that went on, right? And just don't burn those bridges. And that's something I've really been working hard on myself because I've burned a lot of bridges in my day. So don't burn those bridges, right? Be complimentary to the property, right? So really look to be, I'm going to try and back up here so I have a little bit better light, but be complimentary of the property. Ask them how they got the listing. Ask them how they built their business. Do you farm? Who is this client? You know, be a professional and be complimentary of their business, of the property, and of their achievements, right? And I think it goes a long ways with sellers. We're all human. Most people want to help other humans. When you have a property and you bring out the qualities and connect that with the human element. Like I just had my 3rd daughter, right? We had to move. We had to have bigger space. When the people that we bought the home from knew that we had twins and we were having another kid and we wanted to grow our family in their home. Their kids were just leaving high school, right? It brought them to like, hey, we want to help this family have the great memories we've had in this house. And I think that goes really far. I think too often we all think in a transactional mindset and we don't think it's about relationships and we don't think it's about the human element. I found a lot of sellers will go with that human side. So how do we do that? I want to give you another tactic of how to do that. So let's dig a little deeper on how to, make it relate. Make it a human element, make it relate. So we had this client named Genevieve Hartman. She's since moved to France, so I feel safe on bringing up her situation, right? But Genevieve walked into this property, saw this art print, right? And she related it to her uncle. So it had her birth date on it. It was a long-lost relative of hers, the artist. She painted this big picture of how this was a sign that it had to be her property, right? It was the truth. They picked that offer over 3 others. One of them was $15,000 higher, and they went with her offer. So that's an extreme example of a letter working, but she sent a video, she sent a letter, and she tied it all in of how much having their home meant to them, right? Now, I hear stuff like, that's a RESPA violation and they're discriminating. Like, I disagree, right? They're making a human element of why they want the property, and if all things are considered equal, why they want the home, right? So I love a letter from the buyer. I love a video from the buyers, right? Like the people that bought our recent home, it was a cute young family. I was like, that reminds me of me and my wife. That reminds me of my daughters. We had 8 offers on our place. Absolutely go with them. They're all about equal. I want to go with the people that I like. They sent us a cute little video. It was their kids playing in our backyard, playing with some of my daughter's toys that were there. I'm like, of course we're going to pick their offer. So the human element, I think you can take it far. I like a personal phone call from your buyers. I like a letter. I like a video. And I think if you do all 3 of those things, it's going to be hard not to stand out. Cool. So that is number 2. Number 3, Evie, if you could advance the slide to number 3. Pre-approvals. Okay. So this is my only part where I talk and have a shameless little plug. All right. The rest, I will not talk about mortgage lending, but trust me, in this environment, I see some sloppy pre-approvals, right? They are not created equal. I promise you a Quicken Loans pre-approval right now has 0 checks on it. It is data entry from the buyer going through a system, and the pre-approval is only as good as the buyer's data entry. I found many buyers don't know how to enter their data, right? They don't know how an underwriter looks at their income. They don't know that commissions is a 2-year history. They don't know that their overtime doesn't count because they just started working it, right? They don't know that their part-time income doesn't count because they just started that part-time job, right? There are thousands of examples I could give you. I call those level 1 pre-approvals or pre-qualifications. If I had a listing and we had 8 offers on our listing, when I sold, I wouldn't accept it. It's not worth the paper that it's written on. It's a computer program telling you that it went through desktop underwriting. There's 0 verification done, right? So not all lenders are created equal. Definitely not all pre-approvals are created equal. Work with a lender that can close quickly, right? Right now, like we used to be at 15 days to get a purchase done. I'm telling you right now, it's 25 to 30, and we're super fast. I have a big team, right? So check in, do the verification before you present the offer of how quick you can be. There are other larger institutions struggling to get 60-day closings done, right? So that lender might be the thing that makes or breaks your offer, right? And you got to let the clients know that. I let the clients know 64% of mortgages right now either aren't closing on time, aren't closing smoothly, or aren't closing at all, right? My friend Dean sent you to me because he knows that's not going to happen with me. Dean and I have worked together for 5 years. He knows we're not going to let you down. So that level of edification of your lender and confidence that they're going to get it done and presenting that to the seller side is important. Work with a lender, whether it's me or somebody else, that is a partner in the transaction with you, right? My job when I work with anyone's buyers, number 1 is to edify you and make you look good during that meeting, right? Number 2, it's to help you convert the lead, to eliminate fear, eliminate the fear of them buying a home. I find most buyers are fearful about something they have to give up in their life to buy this home, and they just don't know how to set it out. They don't know how to talk through it. They don't know how to set a budget. They haven't sat down husband and wife together and had this conversation. I force that conversation, right? So that, I call it a home buying consultation at the beginning, is super, super important. I like calls and videos from me, videos to the listing side. We just won one yesterday. It was 6 offers. The listing agent said, your lenders videoed to me that they could get it done. No one else has ever done that. It was what sent us over. There were 4 offers at the same price. It was your lender's video, right? So I'll pat myself on the back for that one. But your lender should be a partner in the transaction with you, not just a piece of paper, right? Make sure they have close on time guarantees, right? If there are clients, if I know they're getting close, we'll send them to underwriting before they go under contract. We call it a TBD underwrite, right? If we do that and they're willing to pay, we can close as quickly as 15 days, right? Are they a professional lender? Are they local? Especially, my friend Chris Weichelbaum's on, he can tell you some of the complications that come from condo lending, right? You got to have local real estate lenders that understand the local real estate, especially when it comes to townhomes, especially when it comes to condominiums. Almost anyone can finance a single family home. Those deals get convoluted when they come into homeowners associations, right? And make sure your lender's making a call when you have a multiple offer to the listing agent. My call goes like this, right? My realtor's great. The buyers are rock solid. I make the buyers go through way more than any other lender on their pre-approval. They have to prove all their assets. They have to produce all their income. They have to show me everything. We pre-underwrote the file. Listing agent, unless there's a problem with your property, we're going to close, right? So can't ever say if there's a problem with the property, but those are just things you should expect from your lending relationship. So I will get off now my lending soapbox and I will move on to everything that will benefit you guys. So number 4, set expectations before a house is selected, right? Have a buyer consultation with the buyer. Sit down with them at Starbucks. Even better yet, bring them into your office. Do a needs assessment of what they're looking for and set proper expectations, right? Do you have 2 checks for, in North Carolina, we're due diligence and earnest money, right? In Chicago, we're initial earnest money and second earnest money after attorney review. Do you have those checks? Where's the money coming from? Do you have it prepared? Right? Set those expectations. Have the conversation of how fast properties are going right now. We have an inventory challenge every single where we look, right? It is just challenging. So set those expectations of you're going to have to make a quick decision, right? And if you think it checks 90% of your non-negotiables, like if you have 10 things you want in a property and it checks 8 or 10, you should probably make an offer because someone else, if you like it, is going to like it. Make it your choice. Follow the 90% rule, right? If it checks 90% of your boxes, you need to make it your right to cancel the contract, not somebody else's, right? Make it predictable. Let them know you might have to go under contract, get an inspection, and feel it out because properties are going so quickly. I remember as a buyer personally, a place we lost out on. It still pains me to this day. And I'm a mortgage lender. I wasn't ready. I waffled on the offer. They sold it 2 hours after I walked through it, right? I should have just pulled the trigger then, made it my right to cancel the contract, not someone else's, right? So set those expectations up front right now with your buyers. So those are just 4 things. I'm going to open it up to some of the people on. I would love to hear, and just so you know, it is spacebar. Hold down the spacebar to unmute yourself. Is there anything that you've done in those areas right now with your clients to set proper expectations? What are some things I might have missed?
Hey, Chad and everybody. Can you hear me?
Hey, Dean. Thanks for being
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having me, and sorry I was a little late.
All good.
I think the whole important thing here is to set expectations. I call it pre-framing. And it starts with there might be multiple offers on this house. You're going to have to come in strong. You're going to have to give earnest money that's strong. I'm not a big fan of $1,000 now and $10,000 after attorney review because that could easily be voided by the buyer if he changes his mind. You need to have money up front. That's just the way I do it. I get a little guff on that from many agents, especially downtown. But I mean, on my listings, that's the way we've done it. We've had success with it. No, never a guarantee. That's one thing. We also have to let people understand that this is not a new house. I mean, it's not going to be it's like buying a used car. I mean,
I
there's going to
love
be
that.
issues, you know?
That's an excellent one to write down.
Mhm.
Like, hey, there might be a water heater that goes out, right, Dean? The
Well,
roof might be a little nasty.
Well, the material things are important, and those might need to be addressed. But however, it's uh, pieces of broken tile, it's little scratches, and it's not a punch list. So you got to make that clear to him. The purpose or the buyer, you have to be. It has to be for material and health and safety issues only, right? And then
Yeah,
if they screw around, you can't. What I found is if I try to talk them out of it, I always get burned because they think I'm trying to make them do something they don't want to do. So if they really want out of a deal, you got to say, fine, we'll tear it up right now, and let them
absolutely.
change their mind. You can't. You have to marry yourself to the process and not the outcome. If they want out of it for even if it's a silly reason, you got to say, fine, I'll call the attorney, we'll get it killed. And then if they
Absolutely.
go, well, we don't really want to, then that's their decision, not your pressure. So those three things.
Yeah, all you can do is give guidance and respect their wishes. I also love like when you're out looking at properties, setting these expectations with the buyer from the front. Isolate the objections when you do have buyers that have the objections and overcome the objections if they should be overcome, right? Like one of mine was, hey, when I was looking at home, I don't want anything near the L line. For my North Carolina peeps, that is the train system in Chicago. I don't want to be by that, right? This property's too close. So my realtor did a great job of isolating that objection and say, is that really it? How far? How can you hear any noise? Do you not want to hear any noise? This is important because I need to tailor your search if this is a huge deal breaker for you. So I call them non-negotiables. Find those 5 to 10 non-negotiables with the buyer. Do you have to be on a cul-de-sac? Do you not want to be on a cul-de-sac? Do you have to have new construction? How many bedrooms, bath? That way, when your client feels that it's not right, you can change your search. That was awesome, Dean. Thank you for sharing. Anything else that you guys do to set proper expectations when you're first meeting with the buyer that we could all benefit from? Cool. Don't be shy to chime in if you guys want. I can stop.
There's
Number
another
5.
one.
So
Can I add
go
one?
ahead,
Can I add
Dean.
one more real quick? Sorry, guys.
Absolutely.
The key is what we try to do when I teach my people is always get a thumbs up or a thumbs down on every single house you show them. Okay? Hey, would you take this house for any price? No way, Jose. Ain't no way. I'm out of here. This place is terrible. Okay, fine. And then I stand there and take the listing sheet, which I always carry with me. I'm old school, and I put a big X across it, and we move on. And I tell people if they walk in and this isn't the house for them, let's walk out. Let's not linger and just kind of to hang around. Each time is money. So two things like that.
I agree. I love that. And I've heard some top agents too, after a search, they'll only show 4 properties in a day because they all start to run together and people don't know what they're looking at after 4, right? I know if I look by the 4th house, I don't even remember the first house, right? So if you show 8 properties, it's hard to even remember all 8 properties, right? I love the approach of show 3 or 4 at a time and then do a quick coffee or a quick lunch and, hey, what did you think about today? What about this one? What did you like? What did you not like? Number 2, here's what you said during that while we were reviewing the home. What did you like? What did you didn't like? I think the more you're in tune with the buyer and what they're looking for, the quicker you're going to find them the home, the more likely they're going to get out of the back seat of your car and get those keys in their hands quicker, and that's our job. I'll move on to number 5. The 5th thing is presenting the contract in person. Present the contract in person over the phone. I love this medium right now, and I love texting a video instead of texting, right? It just creates that human element. I think if you're getting involved in multiple offers, if you're just throwing it on an email, it's like if I put my rate sheet and my loan summary sheet on a mortgage, if I just throw that out to the client, I'm just another piece of paper and I'm another number, right? When you present that in person, to the listing agent, to the sellers. You have a video, you stop by their property in person, you make the phone call instead of texting and emailing. I just think it sets you apart. I'm not saying it's going to work every time. I'm not saying it's the only thing. I'm saying this is a tool in your tool belt that you should use every time. Now, I understand you can't present every offer in person, right? But it doesn't mean you can't text your offer, right? Video text, right? It doesn't mean that you can't, hey, do you got a quick second to jump on Zoom? I wanted to present this offer. I wanted to see where things kind of stood. I wanted to give you a deadline, right? The more professionalism and timeliness of this, I think increases your chances of winning in a multiple offer. Shorter options. So have shorter options. Like, listen, if you have my pre-approval, right, and especially if it's a single family home and you're confident in the condition of the property, we can always pre-underwrite the loan. You can waive mortgage contingencies. You might want to waive appraisal contingencies, inspection contingencies. Do these at your own risk, but know these are things other agents are doing right now to win in multiple offers, right? Maybe it's buying the property as is and having the right to an inspection, but confirming you're not going to ask for any money back after the inspection, right? And it's still your client's ability to walk away, right? So I like just shorter options or waiving contingencies altogether. Big earnest money, big, huge upfront deposits, right? I was able to get that out of a seller. What is the difference between our offer and another offer? They're like, you just need a bigger deposit. I was able to get that out of the listing agent. I could call the buyer back and say, you better up that earnest money, otherwise you're going to lose this property. So we have the right through due diligence in North Carolina, through attorney review in Chicago. We have the right to cancel and protect that money. So why not put it up as big as possible? Sometimes these are the things that sellers look for. I know because I always ask. So bigger due diligence, bigger earnest money checks, write a bigger check from the beginning. It might be the thing that sets you apart, right? Have that conversations with your clients. Number 6, extra time to vacate at no cost to the seller. Extra time to vacate at no cost to the seller, right? So what I mean by this is, like my house, for example, they had seniors in high school, right? Their family, they were graduating. They wanted their house for one last summer, right? They wanted to finish their time together. The parents were becoming empty nesters. They wanted to finish that summer together. I did not want that property to go to the open market. I thought it was a very fair price. I gave them 90 days at no cost to them to fulfill their wish, stay in the home. I went and found an Airbnb, right? I made good money on my sale. I made it accommodating to them. They could vacate when they wanted. I gave them past the time that they asked for to let them know I am trying to work with them and I want their home and I don't want it to go somewhere else, right? So I looked at it from their perspective. I can't take all the credit for this. Let me rephrase this. My wife, Kristen, looked at it from their perspective, thought about this. We talked about it. I said, you're right. I wouldn't want, when my daughters are seniors in high school, to move them during their last summer together, right? We need to present this in the contract and tell them we're willing to buy the property, get them the money, rent back to them for up to 90 days, and let them vacate when they want, right? I wanted the house. There was nothing I saw like it. I did what it took to get the house per the directions of my realtor and my wife and my lovely wife. So hopefully she's watching. Thank you, Chris. We wouldn't be in the home without you. Short inspection times. I've even seen with inspections, you let the listing side pick from their inspectors, okay? I don't love that option. I am just throwing out tactics if I see things winning offers. That is one of them. So here's a list of inspectors. You choose one or present it to them. There's 3 inspectors we work with. You can choose them if it's someone you've worked with before. So have the short inspection periods. Get them in there quickly. Make sure it's something that the seller side is comfortable with, right? Guys, we have to realize we are in a seller's market right now. We are in a seller's market. It is not a buyer's market. There are way too many buyers out there, right, for the demand that's out there. And this is across the country. I coach across the country, mortgage lenders and realtors. It is an inventory challenge everywhere. I don't see where it's not. So shorter inspection periods, give them a list. Allow, like, do something weird to set yourself apart. My buyer will pay your seller's title. My buyer will pay your seller's title, right? You don't need to pay that. We're going to take care of that for you. It's unique. It's different. If you have 4 or 5 other offers, they're going to be like, you know, if I saw it, I'd be like, what the heck? Why would they say that? But it's going to make me remember them. So if you have a hotly contested property, do something unique and different. So those are kind of what I call party tricks, right? And guys, I'm just throwing a lot of tactics at you. I don't expect you to remember all these things. I don't expect you to do all these things. I expect you to grab 2 or 3 things, implement them in your business, and I promise doing these 2 or 3 things will help you win more in multiple offers. Number 7. Talk to my team about this today. I just got to make sure he's not on. So number 7 is understand the market, okay? So I had an insurance professional that it advises me on my insurance, right? He threw the quotes at me. I had a time scheduled with him to go over. It was my annual insurance review, and he could not answer my questions. He did not talk to me about trends. He did not tell me why he advised me to go this direction. So he is now a commodity to be shopped to the cheapest price. So I believe in business, you can be an advisor or you can be an order taker. You can be an advisor, you can be an order taker. You can't be both. And when you are an order taker, you are shopped to the cheapest price, and you are a commodity to be shopped to the cheapest price. So position yourself as the expert, right? I like doing that through data. What is current appreciation, right? For all you here with me live, we have in your folder a real estate report card. Brock, did you notice your very nice picture I put on here? Did you like the co-branding? Thanks for having me here. So this is something we use. Probably can't see it on the screen, but it's called a real estate report card. If you guys enter your emails into the chat, I'll make sure Evelyn gets you a copy of one, right? It shows the trends in the area. It shows the appreciation, right? It talks through what has appreciation been in 5 years? What has it been in 10 years? Maybe you feel, Mr. Buyer, you're overpaying. This appreciation, we're at a 5% pace of appreciation. You make up this overpay, in your opinion, in 6 months. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Buyer. You're going to be there, you told me, 7 to 10 years. So I know you feel like it's an overpay right now. I feel that you will make up for that overpay within 6 months or a year, right? So once again, isolate the objection, overcome the objection. If their objection is they feel they're overpaying, ask better questions. How long are you going to be in the property? Why do you feel that way? Here's what the data shows. You're going to make this up in 2 years, right? Or you're going to make this up in, 1 year, 6 months, whatever the number is. Isolate the objection, overcome the objection. I like substantiating the objection and my recommendation with data, right? So once again, I had the insurance professional. He threw quotes at me. He made me look through them. He didn't guide and advise me. So then it made me feel like I needed to go look for other options. If he would have grabbed me, been present on the call, showed me the data, showed me why this was his recommendation, I would have said, okay, here's your check, right? Because he didn't handle it that way, I didn't feel like I was with an advisor, right? So be the advisor in the situation. Talk through their no. See why that's their answer. Substantiate your recommendation with data and trends, right? So I love these real estate report cards. I love looking at past history. I love forecasting for the buyer a little bit based off the last 10-year history. What could you expect over the next 10 years, right? And be conservative with it. It's okay to If we've had 5% appreciation over the last year, right, it's okay to say, hey, that might slow down. Let's look at this conservatively, right? I think we're foolish to think with inventory this low that we're not going to see some appreciation next year, right? Even if interest rates go up. So just make sure you substantiate your recommendations with data, right? If they're paying that list price, it's a temporary setback, right? It's a temporary setback. I keep telling you about my house. Guess what? The appraisal came in 125 short, 125 short when I bought my property, right? I was comfortable with the price. I knew the appreciation was going to be made up. I had looked at 20 other homes. I didn't like them. It was about an investment for me. I knew I was going to be in my home 10 years. I knew I'd make it up. I disagreed with it a little bit, and I made a business decision guided by my agent, substantiated with data, right? So the more you can do that, the better. So I love these real estate report cards. I know you guys have stuff through the MLS. I love rent versus buy comparisons if they're first-time home buyers, showing them what is their actual cost of renting. Just whatever your bell and whistle is. I like pictures. I like graphs. I think most people are visual learners. If you can bring that to them or get on a video conference like this and show them those trends, right, you're going to have a higher probability of overcoming that objection. So understand the market and be the expert in your market and substantiate your recommendations with data. What I've found in this environment, as I've been face-to-face with everyone virtually, people are visual. If you talk numbers to them, it goes right over the head. Myself included, I'm really good with numbers. If you show them pictures, explain it, let them digest it, let them see the numbers, go over the numbers with them, talk through them, ask them how they're feeling, make sure they understand you are now an advisor. So be an advisor, not an order taker. I promise your commission rate will go up. I promise you will convert more. I promise you will spend less time with the clients. Number 8. Oh my gosh, Evie, you are right on point. Thank you. Lead the client, be the professional. You know what's best. Mr. Moss, how long have you been a realtor? Maybe we lost Dean, or he might be muted. So I believe it takes 3,000 transactions to be an expert. 3,000 transactions. So I've passed being an expert about 500 deals ago, right? It's okay to fake it until then. I think you can fake it with digesting more information, using the trends, using the data equipped with you, right? So be the professional. You know what's best. You know what's in the market, not their dad or mom, right? That's bought 3 homes in their life and you've done 500 or 1,000 or whatever the number is, not their cousin that's bought a home once. You have to position yourself. I believe sales is all about positioning. I'm in charge. I'm the expert. This is what I believe is best, right? Now, in order to do that, you can't waffle in between your philosophies, right? You can't waffle in between your philosophies. So I'll share an example of that. Like, I have lost money on rental properties. I've never lost money on a primary home for myself, ever. I don't like rental properties. I don't advise my clients to get rental properties unless they're leaving one of their properties and renting out. I think they should buy a home that's 3 times their annual income, live in a great primary home, and maybe have a second home to enjoy. Like, that's what I believe. It's because of personal experience and coaching mortgage lenders across the country and just seeing the difference between the stock market. So that's my philosophy. That's what I stand on, right? So if any of you are like, oh my God, that's going to take deals away. No, I'm going to make them buy bigger and better houses with you as a primary home. That's what my advice is. So just whatever that is for you, it's okay if your niche is rental properties. That's what you believe in. It's okay, but stand on those laurels, advise on them accordingly, and just don't waver from them. Be mindful of the client's concerns. I love the question, how are you feeling? Does this make sense? Is there anything else I can do for you? Right? My pleasure when they say thank you. Catering type of language. Be mindful of their concerns, right? Like, I have this client right now. They're buying a $1.7 million home. They can't sell their listing This is in Chicago, by the way. And all their friends are leaving the city and going to the suburbs. They are super, super rattled. They are rattled, right? Of course they're rattled. They just have a new baby too. You know what they asked me and what the realtor asked me? Their closing's 90 days out. 90 days out. They asked for a phone call every day to check in. I have 108 transactions going on right now. It's from my best realtor. I'm not going to tell them no. If that's what I need and that's what the client's asking for, we have a 5-minute check-in call on our calendar every single day now. So that's an extreme example. If it was a agent that I did one deal with a month and I don't know the client, I probably wouldn't do that. She's my top account. She's created a life for me I never would have thought I had. She's my best. Of course, I'm going to cater to a client. If I got to call them twice a day and that's what they want and she wants, that's what I'm going to do. So be mindful of their concerns. Talk to them about it. And just, I love the question. I call it the MIT. The MIT. Write down MIT. If you take nothing else away from today, take this away. What is the most important thing I do to earn your business? Give me 2 or 3 of them. If I do these 2 or 3 things for you, we're going to work together. What do I need to do? Right? And if you don't want to do them, guys, don't do them and move on. If you can't deliver them, have a conversation about it. I get it all the time with you have to be the lowest rate. You have to be the lowest rate. I'm like, well, that doesn't work. I have a team of 9 people. I have experts that have been in this business for 20 years. I have a girl that can close 30 to 35 deals per month. She demands top dollar. I have a front-end guy who's been with me 8 years who's an expert. I will tell you, if you want to work with the cheapest rate, it was me 20 years ago when I was in a call center. I was in college, and I had no idea what I was doing, and they didn't need to pay me anything because I had no clue what I was doing. That's the cheapest rate. If that's what you want on your home purchase, it ain't me, right? I will be very competitive. I will be right along where every other lender is. But if you want the absolute lowest rate, like Quicken, you're working with a kid out of college or a salesman that couldn't make it from the used car lot. That's what you want, leading your transaction. It ain't me, right? So isolate those objections, overcome the objections, but ask that thing. What is the most important thing I can do to deliver, to earn your business, right? And I remind them throughout the transaction. I have it written down. It's in my CRM. We didn't talk about this, right? We're steering off course. I can't deliver this to you, right? You're asking me to do things I cannot do for you, right? So understand what your limitations are and make sure you know what the client wants. So that leads the transaction. Present market data from the MLS and other supporting sources. We kind of talked about that. Cool. I will wrap it up with this, and I want to leave the last about 10 to 15 minutes for questions, for things you guys do, for a little mastermind. And if we get done early, we get done early. Allow the seller to lease back for 2 months, make the move out possible. I touched on that. Realize, and I'll just say it again, there is another human with another situation on the other side of the transaction. They might be buying another home. They might, depending on your deal closing, they might be moving to Europe, right? They might need some flexibility and love. And in a seller's market, the more you can understand that and find out what that is and deliver that with your buyers, the more likely you're going to win. Cool. Time limits on contracts, we hit on that. And I just wanted to start the mastermind session because I don't see them like I did the last couple summers. I'm not seeing them too often. How are you guys feeling about escalation clauses or escalator clauses? Are you using them? Are they still working? How do you feel about them? It was like super trendy 2 years ago, and I'm just not hearing them on a lot of deals. So I really wanted to ask you experts, why is that not happening? What's going on? Do you know what they are? Do you use them? And do you see them working? And remember, hit space bar to talk. Hold down space bar like a walkie-talkie. Evie, if you can unmute them all.
I've had people tell me they don't want them.
You have, Chris?
Yeah, I've had list brokers say, during a multiple offer, say no escalation clauses, just come with your best.
Do they put those in the MLS comments now, or is it just kind of when you present them?
I'll usually call before doing anything to, kind of get a feel for what's going on and have a chat.
Yeah.
I'll usually ask, how do you guys feel about it? I've had some people in the past say, go ahead, but recently, I've had them say, no, please just come with your best.
Cool. So you're not seeing them as much as you used to, or if at all? How about here? Mike uses them all the time? Cool. Well, what do you do with them, Mike? Okay. I'll let Mike go in a second. He's got to get on his mic. Dean, how about you? You still using the escalation clause?
I'm not a fan of the legend, because there's an exit door for those. Somebody writes a contract with an escalation clause and they put a max in it. Well, we know that they could easily say, well, I thought about it, I don't want it. So I'm a little concerned about that, especially if it gets right at the top. Second of all, it telegraphs from a buyer perspective, it telegraphs how high your client is willing to go. So if they say, well, I'll give you 450 plus, but with an escalation clause to 500, well, you're sure as hell not going to accept that 450. And if you say they want verification on anything you counter with, your response, in my opinion, could be, no, my client doesn't want to do that, but here's our hard counter, not an escalator clause counter. Our counter is 500. And if they say at that point, well, no, we want to match the property. I said, well, no, the seller, the other contractor will say, from our perspective, listing agent, no, here's their counter. So it just telegraphs too much. Now, from a buyer's perspective, for an agent that's maybe not so experienced, maybe you get lucky and you can get accepted, but you want to make your leash a little tight. You don't want to really give them an increase. I'm not a big fan of it. I just say lay it on the line and go with what you got and no games. Then that matches my style.
Mike, how about you?
Many of them recently.
Well, okay. And again, can you hear me okay then?
Yeah.
Okay. I will be honest, with all due respect to Chad, 100% disagree. And that's because, yes, you are telegraphing, but when my experience is when you go in, you're in a multiple offer situation, and the buyer asks me, Mike, what's it going to take to get this? And I said, I don't know. I said, you get people have emotions involved, and once emotions take over, what we need to do is have a discussion right now before it gets emotional. The last one we just did, and we got, was at $300,000. I said, how bad do you want this house? How much are you willing to pay? And in this case, they said $315,000. So I said, okay, here's what we'll do. We're going to offer $1,000 with an escalation clause of $500 above the next highest bid. And what we did and what they did is they presented us with the offer when we got it, and we beat it by $500. As far as telegraphing them how high you're going to go, great. So if they come back and say in counter, for instance, it's just Chad's argument, I think it was, Dean's argument, I'm sorry.
Dean,
They come back and say, well, I see you're going to $315. We're not going to take your offer unless you give us $315. And the answer is no. We're going to give you $500 over the best offer. So their alternative is to go back to another offer and say, we're going to take yours, which is $500 less. That makes no logical sense. So if they want to do that, that's great. That's up with them. But I will tell you, and I don't advertise this because there's a lot of agents don't do it, but the only multiple offers I lose is because they go above what my clients want to pay. I have not lost a multiple offer yet that hasn't closed for more than what my clients were willing to max to. The most frustrating thing in my mind is to lose an offer where you say, okay, it's 300, and they say, where do you want to go? Okay, I've heard agents say, well, you need to go 1,000 over, you need to go $1,025 over, And how frustrating would it be to say, hey, that one at 300,000 and you were willing to go 315, but we did not do an escalation clause.
Yeah.
It closed at 305.
Yeah.
And to me,
yeah, I get both. That's what I love about this is like both philosophies work, right? It's a tool in your tool belt, and it's something you can use. It's not that you have to use it every time, but it's a situation to feel out. I feel
Yeah, I've heard
perspective from both of you.
I've heard, and thanks for the perspective. I've heard that too from some people, and they may have snagged an offer they might not have gotten. So I guess it depends on your comfort level with the system and what you feel comfortable doing.
Absolutely.
And it does, it could work. That's
Yeah.
why they call it a judgment call, I guess.
I think it's great too, like, we kind of said at the beginning, to have the relationships out there with other agents, right? Like if it's someone you're working with that you trust and you can work with an agent on the other side that you have rapport with and you have a professional respect of, it allows you to trust them more that they're going to do the right thing with those offers. Anyone else use the escalation or escalator clause? Any experiences? I'll move on from it if not. Just anything else that you guys are using right now that I didn't go over that everybody on and the people that will be watching this, what are some other things that you're seeing win in multiple offers that I didn't go over? I went through a lot, so it kind of covers most of it. But, if there is anything else, I would love your guys' feedback. I will tell you this presentation for me started with 6 items, and it's grown from people's feedback. So if there's anything you think of afterwards, if there's anything that our group can take from you and help win more often, I would love to hear about, and feel free to enter it in the chat if you didn't want to talk, and feel, Evelyn, if you could put your email in there, that they could email you some ideas. So I will just end on this. It's amazing to get to talk to you guys and work with some of the best minds in this industry. I think we are at an amazing time. I've never seen in 19 years of doing this, soon to be 20, I've never seen a market like this. I've never seen the stock market so high, interest rates so low. Yes, we're dealing with unemployment right now, but it's like a fictitious monopoly money market. I do not think it will last. I think there's a very realistic chance next spring. We're looking at interest rates 1%, 2% higher. Average interest rates over the last 10 years have been 4.375, right? I've literally locked in some 2.5 30-year fixed rates of late, right? 2.5 to 3%. It is unbelievable the opportunities that are out there right now. So if you do experience a multiple offer, I would love to help you with it. No, our pre-approvals and our calls can help you win more often. I think it's our job to practice the mundane, do these things, practice them, work every time. I think it's our job, to keep our clients motivated, right? I'm sure it's super frustrating if someone's lost 3 or 4 homes. My friend Brock here, we have a client that was lost out on several properties. I'd have a little pep talk with him the other day, like, hey, listen, check this out. If your interest rate's 2% higher, your monthly payments are literally $400 more. You ain't buying this $300,000 home next year, right? And I think price appreciation will go up because the supply is so low. So you're looking at a higher price point. You're looking at monthly payments up to $400 more. We need to stay the course. We need to keep looking. The right home will come up. We will do everything we can to make this happen. Stay motivated. It's the best time to buy. And I think the more often we can have those talks with our clients in this environment, just the more deals we're going to do, the more often we're going to win. And it's our job and our responsibility to look out for our clients. And I can honestly say in 19 years, I've never seen a better time to buy a home. I've never seen the ridiculous rates that have not even close, like Not even close. In the 2s on a 30-year. It is nuts. So have your clients stay the course, keep them motivated, keep motivated yourself. I know we're all working really hard and working ridiculous hours, but I think it's worth it. Save a lot of your money, build up your reserves. I think this monopoly money will stop by this time next year, if not earlier. So just go get as much as you can, do the mundane, make your calls, generate leads, have the tough conversations with the client, be an advisor, not an order taker, and just anything I can do to help you and your clients do that, I'm honored to do so. Appreciate you guys being on. If I can do anything else for you, hit me up, and I hope you took at least one thing today that will help you win and do another deal. And if I do that for you, all I ask is give me a shot at a deal back after that happens. I always want to give to you first. So after you see that and you say, shucks, that Chad Lubben gave me one tactic that made me a little bit more money, I'd appreciate an opportunity back. Thank you, guys.